Hey everyone, hope you're well. This is CoinsKid. Just going to XRP once again. Thank you, support K. Big of the CoinsKid crew. So I've been posting lots of little trade setups for you in the Discord, in the altcoin section. Obviously top 10, XRP, Ethereum, and obviously Bitcoin as well. So definitely get involved in the Discord. The link's in the video description. I think a lot of coins are popping off right now, and I'm finding little opportunities for you. Okay. So one of the key things I'm looking at right now, and this is something I did relay to you in a recent video. There was a chart called others.d, which is the dominance of crypto outside the top 10, and they've been in a downtrend basically for a very long time, and they're about to print a bullish divergence on the monthly time frame. Now, you know, the macro time frame is a really important time frame. Pay attention to it. So this is why we are seeing that emergence right now of, really simply, the top 10 just sort of consolidating, getting quite boring in the range, not really doing much, but we're seeing some liquidity flow into things outside the top 10. Eventually that liquidity is coming into them particular coins, so I'm identifying them coins for you, and they're doing really well. Okay, so the LD has been dropping since I think Tuesday, isn't it? It's been dropping, so keep an eye on that today, because we've had 3 consecutive drops where liquidity has come back into the market, but not necessarily Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, or BNB. They're basically going sideways to down, and we're tracing that wick where we're getting these pop-offs in other coins, you know, and we're trading them. We're doing really well on them. So identify them opportunities. But what you can do, really simply, come to the crypto futures blocks on CoinsKid.com, click the block section, go to crypto blocks, and just scroll down and look for, you know, your fearful blocks, your big white blocks, your big green blocks. You know, they're the opportunities in this market, not necessarily Bitcoin, XRP, and Ethereum. The top 10, you know, they've put in that big ferocious move. They've seen a massive amount of liquidity coming into them. I'm not saying they're cooked and they go down forever. I just think at this period of time, because of the chart, the others.d, it's presenting an opportunity in them lagging altcoins where people have given up and sold, you know, basically, and left the market. So they're the opportunities that I always look for in this market. It's pretty much similar situation as to Ethereum in the spring right there in April. It was coming down, it was in the floor, it was in the RSI was below the, you know, the 30 line. I said that to you on the macro. Buying opportunity. Go back to July last year, XRP came down, buying opportunity. So again, I don't necessarily think that these things are ramped up, they're presenting buying opportunities. So as these come up, you know, you're increasing that probability of risk where, you know, you've come up, they're going to come down. So people tend to FOMO into the big green candles and they get shafted by the big red dildos. So you want to buy, you know, the blood fear and depression. Look on the macro, especially. We zoom out to the macro on the crypto blocks. Look at this, ZEC. If you're buying that right now, you're doing it wrong, okay? Because that's taken off into space. Should have been buying it in the blood fear and depression, you know, way back when. Now, are there any coins that are still showing that? Well, yeah, you've got all these big white blocks. You've got your big green blocks. They're the opportunities. Take a look at them. If you see 5 waves down, bullish divergence on the macro, buy, okay? Buy and forget, you know, and potentially you'll see a turnaround, just like we saw with XRP and Ethereum, you know, this year basically. So let's dive into the charts right now and see what we can see for XRP, okay? But I want to show you something, an observation on Bitcoin right now, that, you know, we've got to pay attention to Bitcoin, because obviously it's the big dog. If it's looking healthy, the whole market's looking healthy, but if it does begin to roll over, we could be in a spot of bother for Bitcoin. So let's take a quick look at an observation on Bitcoin, okay? So the observation on Bitcoin is really simple. We keep coming up the stairs, don't we? There is a saying in the space, basically, in trading: the bulls go up the stairs, okay, and the bears come out the window. So basically, Bitcoin keeps going up the stairs in 25k increments, look. So it keeps pushing up, and then it keeps falling back to a plus 25k support. And this is pretty much what it's doing right now, okay? So we're looking at support being held over the next few weeks. If Bitcoin loses it, obviously, squeaky bum time, that we've topped, and right now we're rolling, and we're losing the floor, basically. And if we begin to lose the floor, this is where the scenario of the bears jumps out the window comes into play. So, you know, if it is a rinse repeat in Crypto Street, where we're looking at something like this, then obviously we want to see the first thing that happens at that particular time frame, which is really simple: losing the BMS, turning into resistance. We don't quite see it at the moment. We are doing what we've done in previous impulses: break out, fall back to the 25k floor, break out, fall back to a plus 25k floor, break out, fall back to another 25k plus floor, and then break out and fall back to another 25k plus floor. So, you know, just there, I remember how pessimistic and bearish people were, and just there as well. So there is a chance right now that Bitcoin can build a base on 100k and hold its support and break bull. If it does do that, you know, we're looking at a nice little scenario pushing up into 2026, where Bitcoin obviously has to be healthy going forward. If that's the case, where could Bitcoin go to? So I think, you know, you could be looking at basically 150k at least, because you're looking at 25k increments, because that is just there around about 125k. So that will become your next floor, surely. Okay, just using simple logic, because you can clearly see, if you break from here and you break into 150k or whatever, then 125k will become your next floor. If you fall through that, okay, entertain a bear market. So this I'm looking at over the next few weeks leading into the end of the year. If Bitcoin can hold this floor, fantastic. But if it doesn't, start turning into resistance, then you're beginning a retracement to this low, which is your next floor, 75k. Lose that, you're down there at 50k. Lose that, you're down there at 25k. And obviously, lose that, it's Armageddon, isn't it? People run for the hills, be selling Bitcoin, and everyone will be jumping up and down saying Bitcoin's a scam and crypto's a scam, which could happen. I've not got a crystal ball, I can't see into the future. So it is all about the floor and the support of the floor going forward. Okay, so all eyes over the next couple of weeks for Bitcoin on the BMS, the bottom of the BMS. If you want to get into your charts, the link's in the video description. It's a really simple process to get into your charts. Keep an eye on. Okay, so we're currently find support like we did there, like we did there, like we did there, and equally on the the next 100k, the next 25k floor. So going forward, keep an eye on that. If we do start to turn resistance 100k, then potentially this is where we are for Bitcoin. We're losing the BMS, okay, and we're starting to trend under it, potentially creating a death cross, which leads to some kind of capitulation for Bitcoin. Historically, whenever we see a death cross in this chart, expect capitulation. Okay, if we look to the left, death cross just there, capitulation, death cross just there, capitulation. If we go back, death cross just there, capitulation. So that would be concerning, because we've got death cross just there. What do we have? Capitulation. What do I mean by capitulation? Really, really simple. Bitcoin comes all the way down into oversold conditions on the RSI, where it comes into the floor, which is where typically you buy more for Bitcoin. Look, that was a buying zone, which was that capitulation event down there. Another buying zone, capitulation event down there, 2018. Another buying zone, capitulation down there in 2022. Okay, and obviously we come up and dropped again with bullish divergence, so a massive buy signal down there for Bitcoin. So it's all about support and resistance. At the moment, the bulls go up the stairs. We're holding the current previous floor and pretty much the previous resistance of the all-time high, previous local high, sorry. But if we start to fall through the floor, where could we go to? And again, this is just pure guesstimation. We would be in fact retracing from this high here to this low. If we do begin to lose that floor, the 1 fib, roughly 74,936, I think there's a chance we could come down to the 1.618 at 54,181. But for me to tell you, with a certainty, which is what a lot of people are doing right now, that is the absolute, where we're going right now, I'll be talking out my bumhole, because we're not losing the support for that to become a play. I hope you understand that. And there's no bias on this channel. It's the same reason when we're breaking out and holding support and projecting up, you're holding support of a very, very important indicator, okay, the BMS, which is your 20-week EMA, 55-week EMA, really simple. You're holding support. So at this point, this is why I was so bullish. But if you break down, I'll become bearish, just like I was there, for anyone that remembers, okay? And then we're projecting down. So I just respect the charts. So really simple, the support is key. Right now, your floor, 100k, turn it to resistance, okay, we're coming down. If we lose the 1 fib, my buy zone is 54,181. Why am I looking at that? Because it would be simply an A, B, C zigzag correction that comes down to the 1.618. I think Bitcoin would have topped there. And a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 setup. The warning shot was your retail top last year, and obviously the rotation event from Bitcoin into XRP at that point, beautiful trade, but it would look a little bit like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and right now you've entered some kind of ABC correction. This move up in the summer was some kind of bull trap, as was this, and right now you're rolling down in a C wave. Now this could just simply be some kind of running flat that finds support there and goes, or retraces into 786 or whatever. But if it does lose to 1 fib, that's my buy zone for you, okay? So why am I looking at that? Because it'll just be a rinse repeat of what it did here. A, B, C, and in the C wave we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves down, and it was a 1.618 Fibonacci extension, okay? It was just a simple 1.618 ABC zigzag correction. So it could be a case that that's exactly what we're doing again. You come up in a 1, ABC 2, and you come out in a third wave in 2026 against all odds and expectations. So a lot of people say, that's it, I'm calling for a bear market and things like that. I'm not. I need to see a little bit more data and structural loss for Bitcoin from this point. So let's dive into the XRP chart to see what we can see, okay? So look at XRP on a weekly time frame. We are doing what we've done before, but it's just taking longer, and we've looked at this before, okay? So we've got this monumental ascending level support from that bear market low. And we've got something very similar in this cycle, apart from obviously the scan wick down there. We're holding this ascending level of support, and from left to right, off its previous all-time high, XRP came down on its go to zero to scam and then broke bull. And what we've got is resistance, 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 compression led to expansion, and then we broke out. And in this cycle, we've got exactly the same thing. So from that bull market top, you rolled into that bear market just there. You rolled into the bear market just there. You got your impulse, your ABC correction, your impulse, your ABC correction. Then from here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and from here, 1, 2, 3, missing the final fifth wave, and then your break bull and the final, vertical there for XRP. So I think that that's what we've got in front of us. And okay, there's no bias on this channel. Okay, it is simple technical analysis. I just react to resistance and support. So in this previous cycle, we did run into the all-time high just there, if you take a look, and we held support at the previous local high, and we went sideways on that. Okay, and this is why at this time last year, when we were breaking bull, everyone was calling for like $80 and things like that on YouTube. But like I said to you, if we're doing what we've done before, which currently this cycle is, it's just taking longer, where compression led to expansion, we should find major resistance at the all-time high, pretty much like what that did, and then we should fall back to the support of this previous local high, which is what happened there. But obviously this was compressed and short-lived, but this is longer. So we are doing what we've done before. I'm looking for deviation. One of the earliest warning shots will be if we start to break down below this support, okay, for XRP, roughly around about the $2 level, isn't it? Start to turn it into resistance. Okay, we're deviating from what we've done before, missing this final fifth wave, or we won't come out like this. And what we've got is a deeper correction, back into support, looking to hold the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 setup for the next wave out. Really simple. Okay, so keep an eye on that support, because at the moment we've come out, I think this is a bull trap, like I relayed to you. I think what we've done, we've come up and gone sideways in a range, missing a final fifth wave. I don't think that's an impulsive wave. I think what we've done from here is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 setup, missing that final fifth wave for XRP, but I could be completely wrong, and don't shoot the messenger if I am wrong. I do apologize. But we've got the expansion as expected. Okay, compression led to expansion, compression led to expansion, and what people are forgetting, and very easily to forget as well, is basically we had a beautiful buy zone down here for XRP. For anyone paying attention, as we're rolling home from this point and start to drop, we've got a 3-wave move up here, and I think it was March of 2024, and I was looking at a 5-wave counter into this God candle back test. This was our buy zone, 0388, beautiful buy zone, and from there I was looking at a massive move. So basically XRP did an almost 10x, okay, and we're looking at coins that have not done that. We're looking at coins right now as an opportunity that are doing this, doing the floor with bullish divergence, some 5 waves down, that about to do something that XRP's already done last year. So like I said to you, I think XRP is front running this market. So far it's come up going sideways in the range. If it can hold this support, I'm looking at another leg to the upside for XRP. It really is that simple. Okay, hope you understand the update. Stay up for stay tuned. Take care everyone. Definitely get involved in the VIP. The links in the video description. Take care everyone. Stay up for stay tuned. Bye bye.